Hi, my name is Michael Zor. Now, those of you who know me know that I love to read and that I love movies. I love movies of all sorts of different kinds. Science fiction, action adventure, heck, I'll even watch romantic comedies. I like movies because of the arc that they follow. You grab your popcorn, sit down, get introduced to the characters. This terrible problem comes up, aliens invade the universe, something else happens, and they fight through it, problem gets solved, theme music rolls, credits roll, we all go, ah, that was nice. And I love that concept that there is a problem that comes up and we solve it all in that 90 minutes. The weakness that I have personally, though, is that sometimes I think I try to view life that same way. I look at a problem that I have and I fall to my knees and say, God, I want you to change this now. I ask him to explain, help me understand your purposes for this, when I think really what I'm trying to say is, I think I know better what should be happening than you, and I'm hoping to convince you, Lord. That weakness to say, there's a problem and we want to fix this, I think is one of the shortcomings that I've struggled with for a long time. That what I'm looking for in those circumstances is the ability to say, there's something bad here, and I want the power to be able to change that something bad to something good. Now, there's a verse in Job 2:10 where Job asks, will we accept good things from God and not trouble? And I don't think Job is really asking whether we want good things or not, because the answer is we do. I mean, I'm not saying that we should go out and look for bad things in life. I'm not saying that we need to create problems. Jesus was very clear that every day has enough problems of its own. But I think we miss the opportunities that God gives us through the difficult times. When we define our lives as the periods of good times are life, and then the bad things that happen are just times we have to endure, we miss the opportunity to see him at work. A couple years ago, I made a mistake that cost me my job, my apartment, several months of my time. I started out homeless. In fact, if it wasn't for the willingness of someone like Deb Fanning to be able to step out of her comfort zone, to be able to provide some options, I would not have had a place to stay. If it wasn't for other people at Trinity, I would have just been drifting around without anything there. I had no job. I was struggling with finances. And I was praying that God would just take those things away, fix this, make this problem just stop. Because of that, though, when I heard about a study at GE Medical Systems to test MRIs, and they, of course, paid $80, so that was of great interest to me at that moment, I paid attention. That the finances said, here's an opportunity to go shopping at Sam's Club, go do that. So I signed up for it. I became known as someone who was willing to take on the difficult tests. So started out with go in and take an MRI, we take you back out, we put new equipment on, send you back through for another hour and compare the two. That some of the new things that they were testing involved cramming you into this tiny little 60-centimeter tube, packing you with pads on basically head to toe, and running you through this whole body scan that took an hour in less than ideal situations. That $80 was starting to look less and less ideal at that moment. But because of that scan, the software engineer who was working on the project saw something ominous and atypical, even for a software engineer. Flash forward to this year, and that atypical blob of stuff that was in there turned out to be kidney cancer. And that kidney cancer, in fact, from June of this year until they took it out last month, grew by 28%. It was something I would not have known anything about. The only symptom that I was actually seeing at the time was that my blood pressure shot through the roof. What would have happened was they would have given me the blood pressure meds, said you probably need to lose a few pounds, and I would have gone merrily along the way while the stuff inside of me was growing and growing and killing me. In fact, if nothing had happened, my survival rate at 5 years was 3%. There was a 3% chance that I could have lived 5 years at this point. Instead, because of that sequence of events, I was able to hear the words, well, we have some positive news from the surgeons when they pulled it out last month. And I was excited. I was happy. I was praising God for the fact that this terrible problem had been dealt with, and the story's not over, so there may still be more happening that I don't know about. When I suddenly realized that the reason that that good thing happened was because of all these bad things, that if God had answered the prayer that I was asking, take this out of here, get rid of this problem, I would not have gone through those steps, that I knew what was inside of me, that the problem that I would, again, much rather trade, I would not have even known that that was there if it wasn't for those bad things. I think that we sometimes miss that opportunity. I think that the opportunity to look at life not as good times are God's blessing and bad times mean that we just have to live through this, but instead choosing to live with the certainty that God loves us, that He is good, and that He gives good gifts to His children, that He has promised us that He would work together everything in our lives, not just the good stuff, but that He would work together with all of those things in our lives, is what it really means to live in faith. Living by faith isn't that we're happy with everything. No one should be excited about something like cancer. Finances are difficult. Struggles like that are things that were never intended to be exciting, positive things for us. Faith is not self-delusion, but it is the certainty that God loves us and that He is good. Job's question is, do we believe that God can work through those things? Now, the last few months, I've had a chance to think about what legacy means. Cancer kind of does that to you in that process. And really, I want to be known as someone who had that certainty, that knew that God loved me, that God accepted me, that He was good, and that everything that was coming my way was going to be something that He would eventually turn into good in my life, even if it was something that I would list as a trouble, as something that I don't want. I want that certainty. I want that ability to say, living by faith is a choice that I want to make. It's not a feeling, but it's that choice. Fortunately, God granted me at least one more chapter in my life because I haven't worked it all out. How about you? If your life was a movie, what would your movie look like? What does living by faith mean to you?